From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Diane Parker. Miller has the midweek forecast, plus a moose is still on the loose in Montana's most urban city. But first, our top stories. Inmates at the Montana State Prison are taking on a new challenge, web design. It's all part of a program called The Last Mile. MTN's John Amy reports.
This looks like any typical web development class, except the students here are inmates at the Montana State Prison. And they're hoping once they complete this, they'll get out and get a good job. And more importantly, never return here.
I'm going to have skills that are high in demand. I'm going to be able to impact the World Wide Web and get paid, do what I love.
Governor Greg Gianforte cut the ribbon on the Last Mile program at the Montana State Prison, which is a year-long computer coding and web design class funded by the Gianforte Family Foundation to give inmates training to better help them enter the workplace after release from prison. The governor said the skills they learn could result in a high-paying job.
It's not going to solve all the problems, but it makes a lot of them go away. Ultimately, it'll mean that you can thrive on the outside and not see the inside of this place again.
Many of the 22 inmates enrolled in the first class say they've never had any computer training, but they're grateful for the opportunity to learn a new skill.
So when I do graduate this and I go past that, there's not going to be any limitations. The only limitations are going to be set on myself and my education and how as far as I push it.
The class is a year long and between 24 to 40 hours a week.
Staying busy all the time. It's good to stay busy all the time too. You know, it makes time fly. You know, so.
The nonprofit Last Mile program is in 16 facilities in 6 states.
I am extremely humbled and inspired by the hope and the resilience that I see from people in our classroom coming back into a society that has a lot of challenges.
And many inmates in the program are ready to face that challenge.
I think it's awesome. I'm really glad I'm here. I feel like there's finally some hope and light at the end of the tunnel now. I'm looking forward to the future now instead of dreading it.
In Deer Lodge, John Amy, MTN News.
This noon, one person is recovering in a Denver hospital following a large fire at a Billings marijuana facility. The victim is an employee at the processing plant owned by Elevated. During the distillation process, ethanol vapors were accidentally set on fire, causing severe upper body injuries to the worker. Property and equipment damage is estimated at $500,000. One of Montana's newest wind farms is now powering 100,000 homes in Oregon. Developers of the Clearwater Wind Project just pulled off a major sale with a Portland-based energy company. It's now sending 300 megawatts of power generated by turbines in Rosebud, Garfield, and Custer counties. The energy is leaving the state, but revenue is not. The project is expected to bring in over $200 million in property taxes over the next 30 years. The Magic City Moose is still on the loose in Billings. FWP continues to monitor it and says there's not much they can do. Tranquilizing the animal isn't an option because the drug typically used is no longer on the market, and officials say they have no reason to euthanize it. But those living in North Billings are worried about trick-or-treaters.
I would just recommend that parents accompany their kids, and again, just be aware that there's a moose in the area.
The moose has been in Billings since October 8th. FWP still has faith it will leave all on its own. Construction is in full swing on a brand new boxing gym on the Blackfeet Reservation. Owner Frankie Kipp says he wants to transform the current space into a youth community center while building the new space right next door. He says doing this will provide all sorts of opportunities for youth groups in the area. And that's a look at some of the day's top stories.
Welcome to the hump, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Blast of energy coming through, especially it really going to affect the areas in western parts of Montana down in maybe northwestern corner of Wyoming where we have a chance to see some of that snow, maybe some lower elevation rain as well. Otherwise, we're seeing some clouds out there, clouds building as the day goes on. Temperatures today, 40s and 50s. We'll go with a high today of 46 in our capital as well as Missoula, 46 in Cut Bank. There's your 50s. Havre at 51. Billings getting up to 51. Down in Sheridan up to 51 as well. So there's that blast of energy coming in from the west. High pressure will start to take over as we get into tomorrow, keeping us dry for the most part through the weekend. And maybe some big changes, though, coming next week. We'll keep an eye on that. Details coming up.
A tragic fatal accident near Columbus last year has sparked change for highway safety. MTN's Alina Howder reports.
It's now been 2 years since Nick Visser and Casey Allen lost their lives along I-90. Hansers held a memorial Tuesday honoring those men's lives, but also hoping to raise awareness about Montana's move over law, hoping to prevent anything like this from happening again. An emotional moment of silence followed the barrage of horns as family, community members, and law enforcement officers honored the lives of Nick Visser and Casey Allen.
They were quiet and gentle-spirited, and to see this outpouring for them it's humbling.
On October 25th, 2020, a vehicle plowed into the two men as they were working on a vehicle on the shoulder of I-90 near Columbus. Peggy Mathiasen is Nick Visser's mother.
We miss him every day. Every single day.
Hansers and the Montana Tow Truck Association organized Tuesday's memorial, and both plan to unveil a permanent tribute to the two men right outside a brand new I-90 rest stop in Three Forks.
We wanted that to be more than just something that had the names of the fallen towers. We wanted to educate people.
And Hansers has made that their mission ever since the fatal accident, also using events like this as an opportunity to educate people about Montana's move over law, which was enacted last year to also protect tow truck drivers.
Good things have come from this. Sadly, it cost two very beautiful people their lives. But our move over law is one of the big things that came out.
Part of our mission then is to provide public education and also education to responders.
A nonprofit called Move Over Montana was also created in the wake of the tragedy. It provides safety equipment to volunteers on the road as well as support to families like these.
Through the work with the two families of Casey and Nick, we held about 14 months ago a contest and designed a slow down move over license plate.
2 deaths that sparked big changes in Montana, lives lost but not forgotten.
It's bittersweet to think about them, but losing their lives it has purpose.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.